Right now it's a turn of an American import that's grabbed the imagination of Australian motorsport fans, the Nascars. As these monsters get ready to muscle their way around the Gold Coast circuit, here's another monster with plenty of muscle, Darrell Eastlake.
Thank you, Kenny. Yeah, good day to you too. And what a great sight of here is Surfers Paradise. The Nascar's coming out. Gee whiz, they're good round here. They run out of brakes pretty quick, and it's always a very, very entertaining race. They're big, they're mean, they make lots of noise. We love them up here as they bounce around this incredible circuit, the streets of the Gold Coast. And I guess there's streets that a lot of people right around Australia have driven at one stage or another when you've been up here on holidays, and it certainly looks different once it walls up. And you can't make too many mistakes of these cars. Get a little sideways here, and really you're going to be in big trouble. And some very big talent driving today. Jimmy Richards, gee whiz, he's been in the Oscars, he's been in the Nascars. You'll see him a little later on in the touring cars as well. He lines up on pole. Beside him is Faulkner, and they had a great duel yesterday. Look at the times, very, very close. Barry Graham, Andrew Miedecke back again too. Good to see that. Max Dumsey, legend on the dirt. Let's hope he can do it on the tar. Brad Jones had some problems in practice, but is fired up and ready to go. And the legend here in NASCAR's around the streets, Alan Grice, now a politician these days. Byers, Goodman, Elliott, and Gross. There's plenty of talent here. Freestone, King, Jane, and O'Brien. Charlie O'Brien a long way back. Watch for the charge from him. He's always quick here. Big crowd in attendance on the Gold Coast. Here's some storm clouds rolling in. We have had postcard days for the last three. Let's hope that the clouds keep away and we don't get any of the damp stuff. Okay, 10 laps, race distance, 45 kilometres. Doesn't sound far, but in one of these. That's Bradley Jones, rigged up in the office, ready to go. You can see the catch wiring there on the side of the car. Terrific idea, starting to be used now in Group A touring cars as well. Just stops the body flying around if you hit the walls, and of course that happens pretty easily. Peter Brock, I love these things around here.
They're big beasts, aren't they, Darrell? Yeah, they make a lot of noise, got no brakes, they're fantastic.
Okay, here we go, racing now underway. Watch for the first into the chicane. They get away pretty well. I think the organisers have said, fellas, let's just keep it Indian file till we get through this first chicane. We don't want any dramas here. Through they pour, everybody at the moment, nose to tail, looking okay.
Jimmy Richards there taking the lead very early on. Looking a clean sort of start. This is what we want to see.
Jimmy Richards, he's, as I said, driving Oscars, NASCARs, touring cars. Very busy time for him, and Stephen Richards, his son, driving a Formula Ford here this weekend as well. So the Richards family well and truly entrenched.
But isn't this Johnny Faulkner aggressive? I mean, this guy really wants to know about victories.
Johnny Faulkner, as we said, great duel for the pole yesterday, gets in behind Richards now, tucks him right onto the boot and starts to muscle and hustle and push his way round. But Jimmy Richards, lots of experience.
My word, and I noticed my old mate Andrew Miedecke there too. Great camera shots there down the straight.
Yeah, now they start to build the revs up, and these things have got some mumbo, I'll tell you. Once they start to rock and roll, they get going.
I mean, these things have got about another 50 horses on their Group A cars. Of course, they're a bit more cumbersome, but gee, they do get going. They make great noises, Darrell.
Brakes are the problem, of course. 45 kilometres, I mean, it's just about their limit, isn't it, on these sort of circuits?
Well, there's Charlie O'Brien just came through in the green car, and Charlie was telling me yesterday that after 2 or 3 laps, the cars in front were starting to lock up the rear brakes. He said it really was astonishing how fast the brakes went off.
Watch them come through here, bouncing wheels off the curb. Look fantastic, don't they? There's Charlie O'Brien in the very distinctive green and yellow car. Surprised he's so far back.
Yes, well, he had that clutch problem yesterday. He had to spin at the S's. A lot of people watched him. He took off in a bit of a hurry and absolutely destroyed the racing clutch system. In fact, it was so badly distorted it looked more like an oval than a circle, and he had to limp to the finish. But here we go.
Back onto the straight now. They'll blast their way down the Gold Coast Highway, a road you're all familiar with round Australia. Looks a little different when it's walled up and lined up with people, and a few chicanes thrown here for good measure. They're on lap 2. Long way to go yet. Jimmy Richards doing it pretty good as he comes into the chicane. Watch the angles here. Throws it in now nicely. Through comes Faulkner, but he's losing ground to Richards already.
Yeah, just watch Jimmy come into that S's there. He threw the cone and drifted through beautifully, powered on, and you can see him drag out an extra car length or so on Faulkner. That's the way to do it around here.
Barry Graham in third place too, doing a pretty good job in the Oldsmobile Cutlass. Doesn't sound like the Commodore, but makes it sounds funny calling something a Cutlass an Oldsmobile out here.
It certainly does. I mean, we've got these American sort of nameplates. There he is. There's Barry Graham there right now, closely followed by an old mate of mine, Andrew Medicki. And Andrew's giving it absolutely heaps there. He's been doing some pretty good lap times in this thing too.
Jimmy Richards is driving a Pontiac Grand Prix. That's the car that he's in out in front at the moment. Johnny Faulkner is an Oldsmobile Cutlass. Barry Graham also in the Cutlass, and Andrew Medecki is also in the Cutlass. So the Oldsmobiles are the go.
Yes, I noticed that we've got Bradley Jones there, now up to 7th spot. So Bradley's obviously done some terrific driving. He's down 10 seconds, but we'll keep an eye on him.
So they're spread out, a little unusual here on this circuit. They're spread out so quickly, but you only need a moment, and don't they bunch up.
Of course, you get into those tight left-right sort of typical suburban sort of right-angle corners, and gee, you can get the car sideways so easily and lose a lot of time. But that's what makes this racing so interesting.
I'm amazed that Alan Grice in car 58 is so far back. Grice, he had some problems in practice, but he's such an aggressive driver around here, and he really does love to throw these big cars around this circuit. He's had a lot of success. Well,
that's his own home territory too. I suppose he'd be passing a law to change the track, but it doesn't suit him. He's being a local member of Parliament, but yes, Grice is surprisingly a long way back.
Andrew Medecki now, that's car 85. He's starting to make some territory, so maybe we're going to see a little bunching up as they start to get a little bit thin on rubber and brakes on this very, very demanding circuit. Good look there as they blast their way down the pits, come past the commentary position. Oh, listen to the V8s doing it. Don't you just love it?
Andrew Medicki showing a bit of circuit racing experience there, closing up on the corners, cutting the corner there.
Graham. Barry Graham, car 3 now. Puts it through the chicane. Medecki comes in behind him at 85. This is the dice that's on at the moment. Medecki making some good ground too.
There's their third lap and already got Jimmy Richards. I think Jimmy's got a little comfortable buffer out there. And as you said, Barry Graham now driving, I think, extremely well. I mean, the guy is basically a circle track driver, and to be getting on this demanding circuit and doing so well is a real feather in his cap. Yeah,
it's pretty hard for them. I know he's been to Bathurst and he has done some road racing, but I mean, when you're concentrating basically on dirt, to suddenly switch with a different sort of suspension setup, different sort of rubber, it is a big ask.
Oh, it's a big ask, big ask. There's Alan Grice in that second yellow car. You just see it coming in the picture there. He's really putting some heat on Max Jonesney.
You've got to tip your hat to Gricey, though. I mean, he only gets in a car every now and then. He's the fourth of that bunch you can see there, and he always puts on a great performance.
Oh, yes. Our Alan Grice is a real goer, there's no doubt about that.
Barry Graham in car 3 running third. Now, he's the business partner of the legendary Richard Petty in the US of A. They run, of course, a Nascar driving and training school over there, and Petty, I mean, he's an absolute superstar in America.
Oh, he's the man, there's no doubt about that. And,
big lose there. Oh, Gracey gets a little tap too. That's what we call the rock and roll of NASCARs. Hey, Gracey's got through with a little bit of pedal damage.
Well, Gracey's always been known to be pretty aggressive, and he certainly wasn't going to lift the right foot on that instant.
I don't think I've ever seen him drive up here. He doesn't get a crunch. Looks okay, though. He should be able to continue.
Yeah, Gracey will just press on. I think he'd keep driving until the wheels fall off the thing. Don't worry about that.
Alan Grice, car 58, the Acubra sponsorship. Let's have a look at it again. Totally sideways.
I don't know what happened coming in there, but looking at it, say maybe with a little bit of a nudge on the left area.
Gricey's got some smoke pouring off where he's dented the car. I'd say it's rubbing on the wheel, so it could be the end of the day. Maybe it'll just rub itself through and clear.
I think it'll rub itself through. It's nothing horrendous.
Alan Grice, what a driver he's been on any circuit and any car. He's always been competitive, always 110%.
He's looking at an old adversary. He's now up ahead, Andrew Medicki. I think they've probably got a few scores to settle too.
Okay, as we watch Gracey come down the chicane, we'll take a break, come back shortly. All NASCAR action here from the streets of Surfers Paradise. You're looking at the Nascars doing their bit around the streets of Surfers Paradise. This is the race leader, Jimmy Richards. And won't our New Zealand fans be happy about that? Welcome viewers right throughout New Zealand. TVNZ taking the coverage here of the NASCAR race, of course, the IndyCar Grand Prix, the FAI IndyCar Grand Prix. Nice to have you aboard, Kiwis. And I tell you what, one of your ex-men here leading the race, doing a good job too. Jimmy Richards out in front, absolutely blasted the field away in the Pontiac Grand Prix. Oh, big problems here. Plenty of smoke coming out of car number 5. That's Max Dumsney. Max is gone. She's cooked it.
Now that's going to put a blow to his point score too. Because he was leading the point score. I think Bradley Jones was looking pretty good, but Max, I'd say an engine, that's major.
Bad luck there now. You're looking at Freestone here in car 43. Does a big looper. Oh, Freestone, he's out of business there. Gene Cook right in behind him. Gene Cook driving a Falcon. Freestone in the Pontiac Grand Prix. Gets it going now. Trying to get back into business, but that's his race run. He was on the charge too.
And he did it all by himself too. Jimmy Richards, looking at him, he's got a buffer now. Not another car in sight. Driving it neat, accurate, clean. He'd be looking after the brakes. Wouldn't be revving it up too high, but just getting it nice, using all the road he wishes. Typical Jimmy Richards, clean style through there. Johnny Faulkner in second spot. Johnny Faulkner probably down around about 6 seconds now. And there's Alan Grice, his much battered motor car.
Oh, God, again, wow. Gricey has a big 360, Alan Grice. Plenty of damage from an earlier shunt that he had on about lap 3. But Gricey, he always brushes a wall here once or twice in a race. Faulkner now comes around. Peter Brock, he's done a great job. He tried to hang on to Jimmy Richards early, but too hard. Here comes Charlie O'Brien now, but we've got another smoker.
And Brad Jones, I noticed, has got by Charlie O'Brien. There's Bradley, and he's done a fantastic job. He's from down the back as well. Yeah, this particular vehicle here, he's not looking too good, this one.
Car 85, making its way around. That's Andrew Madecki, and throwing out a lot of stuff there. I hope he gets off the line because we've got to keep the track nice and clean. Brad Jones in the black car. Charlie O'Brien, who normally is up for the front runners here at Surfers Paradise, is charging down. Here's the look through Bradley Jones' windscreen down the Gold Coast Highway. Watch him come up to the chicanes. There's Bradley, nice and relaxed, looks concentrated there. Now we go through the first chicane. Just brushing the wall there. Down on the power again. We'll come up on the second one. Looking at the high-rise building here of Surfers Paradise. They'll come down to the end of the Gold Coast Highway and hook hard left around the A&A Hotel. Jones in 4th spot.
Yes, up to 4th from down the back. That's fantastic. Charlie O'Brien shadowing him there. He's in 5th. And Alan Grice, of course, we had that spin, so he's sort of thrown his chances away. But, gee, the boys are going well.
Keeping it nice and clean is Brad Jones. He's a wonderful talent, a very underrated driver in this country. Of course, in Oscar, he's virtually unbeatable. He really has taken to the speedway racing and always acquits himself well, but doesn't have a lot of luck here at Surfers Paradise.
No, I just talked to him 5 minutes before the start there, and he said, oh, look, I don't know what I do when I get to Surfers. The Oscar breaks down, the NASCAR breaks down. He said, but I've got a feeling this race, it's going to be kind to me.
Faulkner comes through. He's chasing Jimmy Richards. He starts to throw it around. You can see the tyres are starting to go off. 45 kilometres around here. It's a big test on these machines on a street circuit normally set up, of course, for oval racing.
Yeah, Johnny Faulkner, he's aggressive, isn't he?
See the car dancing around. Pretty bumpy in parts here. Well, Rocky, you've been around the touring car. It's got to be bumpy for these big cars.
Yes, it is. And in fact, one of the things that catches you out is that the road camber. It's got normal road drainage, which you'd expect here in this subtropical region, but where you have a lot of drainage on roads, and gee, it catches you out as you turn into these hairpins like this one.
Just saw a good shot between 1 and 2. The yellow car of Richards going back to the black car of Faulkner. Jimmy Richards, I mean, this man can drive a nail in wood. I mean, he's just so good.
Oh, yeah, Richard's one of the great naturals in the whole, the Tasman region, and, you know, to hop out of a Commodore into this type of car, left-hand drive, different brakes, different discipline altogether. It does take great talent.
58 getting hustled along by car 27, which is Kim Jane, the Pontiac Grand Prix. So some good dicing going on.
And that's Alan Grice there, getting a bit of his own medicine back, I guess. They're battling for 6 and 7.
That's the battle for 6 and 7. Kim Jane says, time to move over, Gricey. This bit of road is fine. Down they come into the chicane now. Jane will jump on the anchors. Nice line through there. Jane comes through. Rice tucks it up and smacks the ripple strip.
I reckon Gricey's a bit light on brakes, that's my opinion. He just seems to be not his normal aggressive self there, banging into corners.
Very conservative, Alan Grice. Well, I suppose he's hit the wall. He's had a spin at 360. How conservative can you be?
Well, for him, I suppose, he is a conservative politician after all, isn't he?
Walter Giles there in the nice little Chevrolet in the pale blue colours. That's a nice looking car, car 77. That's the meat in the sandwich. Car number 8 into the wall.
Bradley
Big
Jones.
spin there, and 15 involved also.
Charlie O'Brien and Bradley
Charlie
Jones. Now, what
O'Brien
is that all
and
about?
Brad Jones. Two of the best drivers in this class of car have just had a big one.
They had to have touched coming down the straight in braking. They had to. I mean, it's the only explanation for the whole incident. They were 4th and 5th, of course.
Well, Charlie O'Brien, normally at the front of the pack. As we said, Brad James, normally in these cars, is just charging alone. Let's have a look, Brocky.
Okay, Bradley comes through. Charlie's moving over. They touch. Well, you know, just that slight bit of movement there, but I don't know. That seemed a very strange manoeuvre to me.
What about they got some air, but how good was Charlie to avoid Brad Jones when he cut across in front of him there?
I think both of them should be sitting there congratulating each other on that one.
Whoa, that could have been monumental. Brad Jones getting plenty of air. By geez, we've seen some flying this weekend. Michael Andretti in the Reynard has been airborne every time he's gone out. We've seen some Formula Fords get some height and plenty of action with the Nascars now. Richards, though, clean and tidy. Very rarely does he damage a motor car.
Oh, yes. I mean, we did see him a couple of years ago in the wet with the car accident playing off the road. Richo, in that instance, was basically I guess he was a passenger. Wasn't really able to steer the car. Normally, when it comes to driving errors, you just don't see Richo make it.
That's the gap between 1 and 2. The yellow car and the red, black and white car, 1 and 2. So Faulkner's done a pretty good job. He really did lose touch there for a little while. That's Jones's car there. I think they'd probably like to move it, but the drivers know it's there, and the flaggy's doing a good job.
And it's almost the end of this race, so I guess they figure, let's leave it, let's let them run.
Johnny Faulkner now. Looking back from him, and you can really see how quick they run around here. Up the Gold Coast beachfront area here. Wonderful circuit, this really is good. Now they'll hook back onto a series of switchbacks that'll take them on to the Gold Coast Highway. Plenty of cars littered around the circuit, all in spots that are A-OK.
We must tell our viewers, this is extremely tight. I mean, we're talking about, I guess, no more than 70k or something like that. You've got to be very delicate. In here too, it's a very difficult corner to get right. You can't afford to hit that curve on the inside. The car wants to slide out here enormously as you put the power on. You sense the car wriggling around it under acceleration. Now he's lined up, and you'll give it absolutely heaps.
I don't know if you saw out the windscreen down the other angle, we saw some big black clouds. You're seeing plenty of blue sky there. This sky is starting to look threatening. Let's hope it keeps away. Great shots here. Through the chicane. This is hard work for these big cars here.
It certainly is. This is the last lap. I reckon that's Timmy Richards up in front. I reckon he's just cruising along there, keeping an eye on Johnny Faulkner. It's last lap, no mistakes. Keep it clean, but Faulkner is on a charge. There's no doubt about that.
Good shot there. You saw where he was going and just where he'd been. Faulkner now, that's where he's been. Opening up a fair bit of the circuit here. This corner he's into now has been opened right up. See how the wall has been pushed back? That's allowing the drivers to see through the corner.
Yeah, that was a pretty dicey corner beforehand, and it is one of those corners where, you know, there can be an incident very easily around. You can just T-bone someone. There's the gap, first to second.
Faulkner doing a great job. Jimmy Richards still in front, the yellow car. Car number 1. Gee, he's consistent, this fellow. He can, as I said, he can drive anything. Doesn't matter. And he starts driving Formula Fords here this weekend too. So the Richards family up to their, what can I say, shock absorbers.
All expectations, I suppose. The Richards, they got petrol in the veins. They haven't got blood.
Nicely just kissing the curbs there. Faulkner closing the gap. He's still having a big go, Faulkner. I mean, anything can happen on a last lap of the motor race. Faulkner just saying, well, I'll ring its neck and see what happens.
Absolutely. All you can hope is that maybe you can cause Richo to look in the rearview mirror instead of the track and perhaps just miscue slightly, but I don't think we're going to see this from this pro. He's on the ball.
Jimmy Richards winds his way back onto the Gold Coast Highway for the blast down to the checkered flag. Whoa, Faulkner lets it slide. He's having a big go, Faulkner. No doubt about that. He's going to finish with a place of glory onto the Gold Coast Highway now. They take the drag to the line, but it'll be Jimmy Richards, the former Kiwi, now based in Melbourne, drives, of course, for the Winfield Gridway Holden team. He wins here at NASCAR. Johnny Faulkner across the line for second. Good racing from him. He was balked and fought his way back well, but a faultless drive from Jimmy Richards.
Ah, yes, no, we would expect nothing less. And we're expecting Barry Graham to finish off third too. He's run a fabulous race too for a non-circuit race driver.
Yeah, great effort from Barry Graham. He got involved way up, and this is the battle here, 3 and 4. Well, Charlie O'Brien, he's put in a great drive. Charlie O'Brien was like way back on the grid.
Way back. He had an enormous spin. He's had a couple of miscues, and he lost his position. He's now fought back up, and he's very close behind Barry Graham into the flag.
So Barry Graham faces across in third. Terrific drive from Charlie O'Brien. He's in fourth. You're looking down on the Gold Coast Highway there. Pretty good race from the NASCARs. It's a big battle up here. The fans absolutely love them because they make so much noise here. It bounces round the buildings, and it's fantastic. Well, New Zealand, you're in for a big afternoon. We have got some fabulous motorsport coming your way. Brocky, Group A's out a little later. Can you improve your position from yesterday?
We've done a lot of work on the car overnight. We reckoned the car was fine. We were surprised by the Ford, staggered by their speed. So we've just changed it for the sake of changing it. We figure it's like a test session.
Sounds like you've been singing the blues.
Yeah, I'm doing Joe Cocker impersonations.
Brocky and Joe Cocker, the mind boggles.
Give me a break, yeah.
There they go round side by side. And that's terrific too because they've turned on a good show for the fans. As I said, the biggest crowd I've seen at Indy in the years we've been coming here. This is the fourth one, and really it's going to be a marvellous afternoon. I hope the storm clouds do keep away. We've had really beautiful weather right throughout the week. But there's the shot. You can see the Gold Coast strip of sand, that wonderful surf that comes in, and that storm moving up from the south. But it's been like that for a couple of hours. Who knows? It may just stay there.
But, you know, isn't it one of the great unpredictable issues you get in motor racing all the time? I mean, if there's a shower of rain, it adds a bit of excitement. I mean, it's not good for the drivers.
Let's recap for you the Goodyear Eagle NASCAR Sprint. Jimmy Richards, Faulkner, Graham, O'Brien, Jane and Gricey did get up there with the front runners, and it was just hanging together. We'll take a break, come back, stay with us, Australia and New Zealand.